Hello, grinders, and welcome to another episode of the Grind Fantasy Football Podcast. This is your host, Greg Davis, here alongside Travis Gonzalez. Travis, how we holding up there?
Doing great, Greg. How you doing, bud?
Doing great, man.
Excellent.
0 and 5 or somewhere in the middle.
Mm,
We're here to help you power through this next couple weeks and continue your dominance or figure out a way to get you back in the race. Or if you're at the bottom end of the spectrum, Lord knows it's not because you weren't trying, and we'll get you back to a plain spoiler. It's one of my favorite things to do when my teams are terrible, as some of them may or may not be right now. So we have all the content ready to go, ready for your questions via the phone lines or text lines. So bring them in, start sits, trades, anything like that. But outside of that, got a lovely show for you this afternoon, heading into week
cease. Uh-oh.
game and two Monday nighters, little Monday night doubleheader action to finish it off. So a lot of really good action this weekend, a couple of really good matchups as well. We will take you through the fantasy side of it for the next four quarters.
Excellent. All right, let's just jump right into it. So first quarter, we are going to be discussing tight end options for week 6, and not just week 6, but just the next few weeks as well for a couple of these guys. Seems to me that every year there's always, tight ends that pop out that, nobody considered to draft. So for me, a lot of times I like to just kind of delay my pick on the tight end, see what pops up on the waiver wire. So let's take a look on who might possibly be available in your league. And to start off with, this guy had a hot start. He was definitely a waiver wire top pickup in the first couple weeks. That's Fannin Jr. He's looking like a good start to me for the next 3 weeks. He has very favorable matchups. Um, this week he's playing Pittsburgh, then after that is Miami, and then after that is New England. Each of these teams are in the top 8 in the league for fantasy points per game given up to tight ends specifically. So check your waiver wire, see if Fannin Jr. I know he got picked up earlier, like I said, but a lot of people, ended up dropping him. He hasn't had the most productive games as of recently, but I think he is going to turn that around. Any thoughts on that, Greg?
Yeah, Fannin's a fade for me, man. With Njoku coming back, and Njoku, still having a role there, I don't see him as a must-start fantasy asset. I think he's a nice hold, especially if you're in like a keeper dynasty type situation. The athleticism really pops off the page there, of course. But this year, I'm having a hard time seeing it. You're breaking in Dylan Gabriel as your quarterback. You don't have that safety blanket of Joe Flacco. Traded off to division rival Bengals. So Fannin, yeah, I think he could spike for sure a couple weeks, but the
Oh, having a little technical difficulties.
week to week where he was taking wildcat snaps and running back. Oh, are we? Are we?
Yeah, he cut out for a second. Let's keep going.
Oh,
We'll
well,
do it
shit.
live.
Yeah. So Fannin, he's a fade for me.
Okay.
Personally, I just the consistency's not going to be there, but if you need somebody who might spike, or you're willing to hold him for, like I said, keeper dynasty type situation, definitely something that could be viable.
Awesome.
Who we got next?
All right. We're looking at Theo Johnson now, of the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like he's getting some good reps with Jackson Dart. He's kind of clicking with him. Over the last 2 games, he's had a 19.7 target share. That's tied for the team lead. So yeah, he's definitely involved in the offense, which is good. You want to look. At least I look for just overall involvement. More opportunities you get, the more opportunities you have to make big plays. He's got a difficult matchup this week, so temper your expectations. But I think he could be a very playable tight end after that. He's going up against a Philly defense that's allowed the fourth fewest fantasy points per game and receiving yards to tight ends. So just keep that in mind. Um, yeah, he also has a game. I guess they play Philadelphia 2 weeks later in Week 8. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on him. He has been pretty productive the last, or especially last week, but that was against New Orleans. So keep that in mind. But any thoughts on Theo Johnson from you, Greg?
Yeah, I like Theo Johnson quite a bit, actually. I think that with it was his first game with Neighbors going down, and he was clearly a target for Jackson Dart in the red zone, which is something you always want to see out of your tight ends, especially when he's producing a 7-catch or 6-catch, 33-yard effort. Otherwise, so I like the chemistry. I like the target vacancy that he's going to be hoovering up now that Neighbors is out. Of course, Slayton's been banged up as well. So I think that their receiver, anybody who's able to catch a pass, is just really thin there. So best ability is availability, and Theo Johnson currently has that right now. Yeah, tough matchup this week. My philosophy on Thursday night games. I hate pretty much everybody except the home running back. Obviously, this is a division game, so not a lot of travel. They know each other pretty well. The Eagles just seem to be a force right now. Yeah, I think the Theo Johnson long-term outlook, I like it a lot. I think it's going to be really difficult to trust him this week just because of that. However, if the Giants do get in that red zone there, I think that Jackson Dart will be looking for Theo Johnson. And if 7 targets a week is what you can kind of...
That's pretty good for a tight end. Oh, cutting out again. But yeah, for in my opinion, I think he's
expect going forward. So you're bailing on Juwan Johnson or...
You cut out again. We'll address it during the break, but no worries.
All right. Well, anyways, yeah, love Theo Johnson going forward. I think that he is a sharp pickup.
Yeah, high risk, high reward. Excellent. Yeah, next we're looking at the Seattle.
Don't play him this week unless you have to.
Yeah, if you got a deep bench, yeah, I think he's definitely worth picking up. But if you're looking for a streamer, he may not be the best streamer, but definitely somebody to hold on to. Up next, we have the Seattle Seahawks tight end AJ Barner, who has kind of started to show himself as the primary tight end. Can't remember who they had exactly at the beginning of the season, but I remember during the draft it was pretty murky on who the Seattle Seahawks main tight end was going to be. He's got 3 top tight end finishes this season so far. In PPR, he had a 9 and a 8 and a 1. So yeah, he's kind of come out of nowhere. He's not really rostered in many leagues. So if you're looking for an option, I think AJ Barner could be good for you going forward. Any thoughts on him, Greg?
Yeah, AJ Barner, I think, is somebody who, as you mentioned during the pre-draft process, we didn't pay a ton of attention to. Of course, in that Kubiak, Shanahan style offense, the tight end certainly does get a lot of opportunities. So we like that. Obviously, he had his best game of his life, catching 7 for 53 with the 2 tutties against the Buccaneers. That was a shootout, so I don't expect that kind of production every week. And they do have a pretty viable number 2 wide receiver in Torrey Horton. So as a 3rd receiving option, maybe even 4th if you count the running backs. I think there's going to probably be some inconsistent weeks for AJ Barner, but certainly you can see in the right situation what he's capable of, putting up more than 20 PPR points last week, as you mentioned, to be one of the leaders at the position. So I don't have a problem with AJ Barner. I just am not as high on him simply because he's not a number 2 option like Theo Johnson is, or potentially somebody else that we're going to be talking about here in a second.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, last but not least, we're looking at the New York Jets tight end Mason Taylor. He's had also a couple the last 2 games he's averaged as being the tight end 9 on PPR. Last game, yeah, amazing nine receptions on 12 targets. No touchdowns, but just the sheer volume, I guess. Made him a tight end 8 for the week. Looks like he's heating up. Yeah, any thoughts on Mason Taylor? He's a little more unfamiliar to me.
Yeah, Mason Taylor. He is, I think, somebody that was pegged as a dark horse coming into the season. Obviously, he's a rookie tight end. It's difficult to really project what was going to happen offensively for them. And he was dealing with an ankle injury earlier in the season. He seems to have put that behind him. And if you're telling me your tight end's going to get 12 targets, then that's somebody I'm putting in my starting lineup every single week because that volume is just you can't can't fake that.
Yeah.
So if this week sucks for sure because they're playing in the London game against a very stout Denver defense. So I don't love it this week for those reasons, but it seems like Justin Fields certainly is locked on to Taylor as a receiver, and I like that a lot. I would certainly consider Mason Taylor as a viable tight end target going forward. Of course, 3 weeks ago we were talking about Juwan Johnson as like the best tight end ever, and Harold Fannin was like king of the world at the time. So these things can change quickly in the NFL, but I think that the stability with the target share and contrary to AJ Barner, they don't have a number 2 wide receiver out there in New York. So I think that Mason Taylor will effectively operate in that way. And I think that brings some really good value to him. Value, you're picking him up with the waiver wire heap or spending probably pretty low fab on him. But if you're getting that kind of volume, 12 targets, good Lord, I think that those are eventually going to turn into scores, and those are going to turn into 7 for 50 with the tutty kind of stat lines. And I like that. I like that a lot from my tight end position, especially as you mentioned, if you faded the position earlier in draft season or earlier in the season, or just weren't able to snag those kind of earlier tight end spikes.
Yeah.
I think that he's a terrific option going forward. And he's got the pedigree, right? He's a son of a NFL Hall of Famer, so always like that. I'm a big fan of Taylor, big fan of Theo Johnson. I think if I were looking at those 2 names this week, and they were both on the waiver wire, I would endeavor to try and pick up at least one of them. But again, this week, both of them provide really difficult matchups. The London game and the Thursday night game, both of which I absolutely abhor as a NFL fan. I wish they would do away with them post haste, but that's I'm not getting paid $30 million a year to make those decisions. So that's life.
Yeah. So just a little speculation of note for this week 6 game for Mason Taylor. I know he's going up against Denver. So they're guessing that Patrick Surtain is gonna provide some shadow coverage to Garrett Wilson, which means that
he's gonna blanket him for sure.
Yeah, I mean AJ Brown hasn't had the best week, but he held AJ Brown to just 5 receptions for 43 yards last week. So yeah, he's definitely a lockdown.
Hasn't AJ Brown only had like 5 receptions for 17 yards like every game this week or something? Like every game this year?
He had 6 in week 3. That's the only week he got double digits.
Gee whiz.
Yeah.
Gee whiz. But yeah, Travis, you make an excellent point. Surtain is going to provide that blanket shadow coverage over on the number 1 receivers, Garrett Wilson, which of course is one of the reasons that the defense for Denver is able to be so effective, is because once you lock up the other team's number 1 receiver, you can fade your coverage elsewhere. You can you can rotate some people around, that kind of thing. So yes, that certainly should be a boost to Taylor, and I like that. Good call out.
Excellent. All right. Well, that should wrap it up for the first quarter. We're gonna switch sides on the field, and we'll be back in about, let's call it 4 minutes.
And if you're sitting on the phone lines, we see you. Don't hang up. We will get to your calls later in the program.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. You're listening to the Grind Fantasy Football Podcast, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the program, Grinders. This is the Governor, Greg Davis, alongside Travis Big Chaps Gonzalez, and we are here to bring you into the second quarter of our lovely introduction to Week 5 Football 2025 matchups.
Week 6?
Is it Week 6?
Yeah.
Oh my God, already?
Yeah, it's blown by, dude.
We missed last week. That's
Already.
right. But anyways, we'll keep on keeping on, and yeah, like we said, whether you're 5-0 or 0-5, we are here to take your questions, calls, provide any advice and help that we can for your fantasy squad, and let's finish out the season strong.
Hell yeah.
Man, the playoffs are right around the corner. Holy
dude,
mackerel.
we're already a third of the way through the season.
Well, we're halfway through. I mean,
almost
halfway through.
Yeah, after this week.
The regular season.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Crazy.
Like,
yeah.
It still feels like it's early, but it's really, I guess, statistically not.
Yeah, we want it to be early because my teams are shit, and I want to make sure that they have time to rebound or that kind of thing. But we're in prime season for trades and roster evaluation, and maybe taking some different tactics.
Yeah, we're starting to see patterns emerge, trends, things like that.
Yeah, all your preseason sleepers or darlings that fell flat on their face, or vice versa, those folks who went unheralded, undrafted, who were making a surge. But let's focus on one one position, one of the singular positions, right? Like quarterback, tight end. Let's talk about defense, special teams, and what
Hell
the
yeah.
docket this week provides, and maybe some folks we can stream going forward. And just a note, Houston and Minnesota are the buys this
Houston,
week.
Minnesota. Good to note.
Just kind of, if there's anybody on those rosters who may have been unceremoniously kicked to the waiver wire due to them being on a bye, certainly something that you'll want to look at going into the Sunday slate.
Excellent. Yeah, so speaking of looking forward to the next few weeks, if we kind of look back, last week Green Bay had their bye, and the week before that they gave up 40 points to the Cowboys. So I think those two things combined led to them kind of being released on a lot of leagues. So I think you should that every team's going to have a bad game, you know. But Green Bay is certainly still, I think, one of the top defenses. They have very favorable matchups the next 3 weeks. They're going up against Cincinnati, Arizona, and Pittsburgh. So check your waiver wire if you have fewer sharps in your league and sharks and all that, whatever you call them, and nobody picked them up. I think they're your best shot for not only getting a team during your bye week if you have Houston or Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota definitely. I dropped them in one of my leagues, but unfortunately Green Bay was already taken up. But yeah, check to see your local waiver wire, see if they have Green Bay available. If not, before we move on, any thoughts on Green Bay's defense, Greg?
Oh, love the Green Bay defense. I drafted them proactively in a lot of leagues. I think that they, even before the Micah Parsons trade, were a really sound unit. I like their linebackers. Their D line is tough. So I do like the Packers, and I honestly I think that the 40-40 tie against the Cowboys, that game doesn't go to overtime, or XYZ happens. I think that they put up a pretty strong performance anyways. Of course, Dallas is cooking right now on offense, so it's really hard to trust any defense going up against them. But I would still think that Green Bay is one of the stronger units, especially now that their bias behind them. That's one of those kind of set and forget sort of things. I don't hate it, but I don't prefer to play the roster matching game with my defense and special teams if I could help it, just because, like you mentioned, there's a lot of people who are looking to swoop up that quality defense. So you can hunt those matchups. You can certainly an option. I just don't prefer to play that way myself.
I'm all about it, baby.
Definitely an option. But if you want a defense that you can just kind of trust, and you got to remember their division still could be tough with Detroit. If the Bears come on, I don't know what to make of the Vikings offense. I think that outside of Detroit, which they've already played and beaten, I think that their schedule is not super difficult the rest of the way. So yes, very proactive on the Green Bay defense.
All right.
Especially if they're playing the Bengals this week. Like, even though the Bengals got Joe Flacco.
Yeah, but
which I think could probably scare a couple people off, but he didn't join the team till like Tuesday.
Yeah.
So could he just drop back and huck it up to Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins 40 times? Yeah, I certainly think he could, and I think he should. If I were the Bengals, I'd just dial up, 4 verts every freaking play. But even with that upgrade potentially to the Bengals offense, I still am bullish on what the Packers defense is offering this week.
Yeah, I think that Swiss cheese.
They're going to be rested. They're going to be pissed off. I like Parsons to probably have, over 1.5 sacks, I would think.
Ooh, calling it now. Let's check that. We can check that prop at the end of the episode.
I know. I'm telling you, dude.
All right. So yeah, Green Bay Packers for sure. But if they happen to be picked up, I think there is a very viable and very available streaming option for this week, and that's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, the Raiders, they're their problems are definitely not on defense. They've got strong front line, but they are. But the thing that stands out for me is they're playing Tennessee, and I know you just said that this is not your style, but for me it definitely is. You just kind of identify there's a handful of teams each year that just can't seem to put up points, and this year it is by far the Tennessee Titans. So I think I ended up, when I had to drop Minnesota in one of my leagues, I definitely picked up Las Vegas because Green Bay wasn't available. But I think they're the next best option, especially just for this week. If it's not the team that you plan to, roster for a long time like Green Bay, but it's just kind of I guess you call it like a band-aid. Any thoughts on this matchup, Greg?
Oh, I'm never going to pick up a Raiders defense in any league I'm in because their offense is so inept. And now you've got not only Colt Miller, but other the O line's beat up. We already knew that.
Oh,
So the offense really has nowhere to go
not
other
as
than
inept
three and
as the
out.
Tennessee offense.
I disagree with that. Calvin Ridley had an excellent game last week. They're getting Tyjae Spears back, and Cam Ward is starting to look a little bit more comfortable, especially on the deeper passes. So I think Tennessee is ascending right now, even though they've put up some pretty crummy
Okay,
games on film so far. I think that they are on the upswing. And if the Raiders, let's see, they had since week one when they had 4 sacks against the Drake May led Saints or Patriots, pardon me. They've only had 4 sacks in the 4 games since then, and like 2 interceptions or something. So I don't see it. And that's really purely a Raiders thing. I think that you're spot on with your assessment of streaming against like really piss poor offenses. I just think that what do we got? Tennessee at Vegas. I think Tennessee wins that game outright,
interesting.
and I think that oh, absolutely. Vegas doesn't have shit going on. Even the most staunch, ardent Raiders apologists are, starting to turn on Geno Smith. And I don't know if Pete Carroll's going
Oh,
to be able
there's
to.
so many memes out there. It's
Oh, I'm
ripe
sure.
for the picking.
I'm sure. Yeah. So Vegas is a fade for me on defense, but that's really mostly because their offense sucks so much. Like they're not going to have many opportunities to score points. So I don't think that their defense is going to be in position to step up and make it a meaningful fantasy contribution.
All right, fair enough. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that, put a bookmark on that, and see how they fare on Monday.
Yeah, because
Or
Vegas
when
has
we
the Chiefs after that, after this week. So yeah, I mean, if you
they're
want to
probably
take a shot,
they're
go
probably
ahead.
focusing more on that game, huh?
If you want to take a shot, and then they're on the bye after that. So yeah, like you mentioned, you can go the gunslinger, hired gun kind of route and try him this week. But I think that team's going to fall apart pretty much the rest of the way. So to each their own. But this fantasy analyst thinks that Tennessee wins that game.
All right, let's prove me wrong. Um, yeah, so that we're moving on from Las Vegas into kind of more, I guess you call them speculative defense special teams options. I'm
Yeah.
looking at Jacksonville. I mean, these guys have a league high turnover or takeaway total, I guess you would call it, over the first 5 games. Um, just kind of looking at the scores that they've given up. Just the 27 or 31 points to the Bengals. But I mean, you got scores of like 10, 21, 10, 14. I think these guys are definitely, a team to look at going forward as far as defense special teams options. Any thoughts on that, Greg?
Yeah, incredible run of turnovers they've had. They've had since week one, 2, 3, 2, 2, and 1 interceptions. So they haven't had a game without a pick. They've also recovered 4 fumbles in 6 weeks along the way. Their sack totals fairly lackluster. Points allowed kind of middling. Um, so yeah, I think overall, I think turnovers are fairly fluky, and I don't think that that's a stable statistic. You have Seattle going across the country to play that dreaded West Coast on the East Coast, 10 a.m. start, which I obviously dislike significantly as well for fantasy prospects, especially. It always seems those teams kind of come off sluggish, especially after the roller coaster game that Seattle played last week against Tampa at home, where it was just back and forth, and they ended up on the wrong end of that decision. So I think they're going to be drained. I think that Jacksonville definitely sets up as an opportunity to capitalize or exploit that. Of course, Sam Darnold was absolutely on fire last week and last couple weeks. His connection with Smith-Njigba, Horton, as well as Barner, who we talked about previously in the show. You want to like that team. I just think the circumstances are set up against them, and I think it's fair to say Jacksonville this week could be a good play. But again, those the high point plays, those turnovers, I don't think that that's a really predictive statistic, and yeah, I could be okay with it. Who they got the next couple weeks? Jacksonville.
That I'd have to look up. Not sure.
The Seattle Rams bye. Yeah. This week I could see it. Next week in a 6:30 a.m. start, presumably in Germany or some shit. I don't know. You figure that kind of neuters each offense, anyways. So maybe you can get them in holding for a couple weeks. The Rams offenses looked okay, but this week in Seattle, it depends on which Sam Darnold we see. Is he seeing ghosts, or is he seeing the field well? And are they going to be laggy because of that? Super high emotion game last week, plus the travel across the country. I like it. I think it's a kind of under the radar play, like you mentioned earlier. But I do like the Jacksonville defense. It was pretty darn good.
Yeah. I mean,
last couple weeks.
Say, turnovers are fluky, but I mean, when you're consistently producing them, like I said, this is kind of the spot where we start to see trends. Like, I think it's
10 picks in 5 weeks. That's insane.
Yeah, but it's exciting. Awesome.
Well, it is an entertainment-driven business.
Bonanza. All right. So to round this out, the last option we have, they have excellent options. Just like Green Bay, even more favorable than Green Bay, is the New England Patriots. For the next 3 games, they play some of probably the 3 worst offenses in NFL. They start off with New Orleans, move on to Tennessee, and then Cleveland. So yeah, and then not only that, but I mean just the Patriots, defense in general has been pretty standout, like better than people kind of expected. But this is probably my second choice for streaming for the next 3 weeks behind Green Bay is New England. What do you think about that, Greg?
I love it. New England has put up some really solid point totals on defense this year. Starting out against, who else? Las Vegas. When they have 4 sacks to open the season, they had 5 sacks the following week against Miami. Both pretty putrid offenses. They've gone kind of quiet since then. Only 2 sacks in the subsequent games, but they went into Buffalo and knocked off the Bills. Obviously, division rival. We talked about that as
the money line on that, and I
know you did.
I did not chase my bet like a good boy, but
props where props are due. You had them.
Against the nice guys finished last.
I don't think it's ever been more clear than now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I do love the New England defense, and this is one of the situations, Travis, we talked about earlier. Like, I don't want to stream week to week just because of the volatility with my other league mates, or how many other people are trying to play that same strategy. However, in this instance, because you brought up their next couple of opponents who also look pretty crappy, Saints, Titans, Browns. And they got the Falcons after that, who also give up a ton of points to opposing defense special teams unit. So
Yeah. And once they hit the
yes, I think
Buccaneers, maybe you can consider your other options. But I mean, that's 5 weeks in the future.
at 10 tackles for loss against the Raiders. That is crazy.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah,
With,
I can. Yeah.
yeah, it just goes to show you the Raiders suck.
Ah,
Um,
it's as is tradition.
yeah, more things change, the more they stay the same, kind of thing. Yeah, so New England, love it. I show them rostered in about 45% of Yahoo leagues. And I see what is the over under projected at? Probably not very high.
Oh, I wouldn't think so.
The over is like 45. That seems actually
That's
higher than. This is pretty high. I might go on the under on that. Yeah, so New England against Spencer Rattler, whatever, who has been going a lot more vertical lately. And I think that's part of the reason Juwan Johnson has declined in the last couple weeks, because the offense is looking to push the ball downfield. Rashid Shaheed has had a good couple games. Olave is still,
yeah.
I mean, he's
Rattler's
still
definitely
getting
underrated, I think.
a ton of targets. So I like the New Orleans offensive pieces for individual fantasy performers, given the right situation. But overall, this New England defense, I think, is a great play this weekend for the next couple weeks afterwards.
Oh, definitely. All right. Excellent. So that brings us to the end of the second quarter. We're going to take our little halftime break. Stick with us, and we'll be answering some questions to start the third quarter. So, yeah, we'll be back in about 7 minutes, folks.
Hello, grinders, and welcome back to another third quarter for the Grind Fantasy Football Podcast. The governor here alongside Big Chops. Chops, what do we Dynamite show so far, by the way, but what do we got going on here the rest of the way?
So we got a couple of questions waiting for us on in the mailbox.
All right. Hey, and just a reminder, do not be shy. Text, call, use the the chat. Use our. Do we have a Discord channel?
I got one. I got one started.
Discord
still customizing it and setting it up, so
Okay.
that should be available very shortly.
Hit us on the Discord. Hit us via the text line, the phone line, the emails. Try and send out some vibes psychically. I will probably be able to pick them up. Barring some interference. So just let it rip. We are here to help you get your hands on one of those sweet fantasy football championship trophies or a belt or whatever your league has to reward the greatest thing of all time, which is a fantasy football championship. Yeah, just don't wear the belt around your waist like a
it goes over the shoulder.
Yeah, over the shoulder every time.
Yeah.
How are you going to smack somebody with it if it's around your waist? It's fucking
exactly.
ridiculous.
And it's just uncomfortable. When you're that much of a beast, it gets in the way of those gigantic pecs and your rippling abs.
I can only imagine. But anyways, moving on. What are some of the questions from viewers / listeners / anybody?
Yeah. So first we have a question from his team name is Compete. And he's got a skull for his avatar, so I can only... Oh, Pete spelled P-E-T-E, so I can only assume this guy's a Raiders fan. So he's...
Well, how do you spell compete?
Well, it's got the capital P, sorry. It said C-O-M-E. Anyways.
Got it.
So he has a trade question. He has a chance to trade... He has Matt Stafford and George Kittle, and he's being offered Christian McCaffrey. He's asking, would you guys do that? So some of the qualifiers are he has Dak Prescott as his other quarterback, so seems he's good on that situation. What do you think? What do you think are how would you evaluate that trade? Is that a taco trade, or is that pretty well balanced? I mean, granted, we don't know anything about the rest of the situation, but just straight up in a vacuum, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, assuming full point PPR.
No, I would hope it would be. To consider this.
Assuming that, not knowing who else you have on your team, I don't, for Compete, I don't think that matters. I think that Compete's not going to get worse at running back. He's not getting worse at quarterback. Tight end. Who knows what Kittle's going to be like when he comes back from his injury? We obviously have super high expectations and did coming into the season. I still think he's going to perform really well. But like we mentioned earlier in the segment or the program, there's a lot of tight ends out there that you can patch together.
Happens every year.
And so, and some might be, flat out league winners if the volume stays consistent and if their production stays where it's at. So I think that's a no-brainer. I make that trade every single day of the week. I'm actually
sorry, go ahead.
Kind of amazed that this is being offered. CMC as in a PPR league has blown the doors off of.
Let me ask you this:
with like 9-10 receptions a week. So
what if this was a standard league? Because I'm pretty sure McCaffrey's kind of at the bottom of yardage production, and I think you mentioned this at least last week, or the early show last week, that the Niners still, or at least up to that point, hadn't scored a rushing touchdown. So in the situation where it's standard, would you still consider this a fair trade?
I would, because you're not getting that PPR uptick from Kittle anyways. I think that Kittle, when he comes back, probably siphons some targets away from McCaffrey, but I still think that his safety blanket for whoever it is, Mac Jones or Purdy. I think Kyle Shanahan's going to keep dialing those up. I mean, he's played some ridiculous, like 85 whatever percent snap share last week. Again, even after they traded for Brian Robinson Jr., he's not getting any run whatsoever, which you could expect like the first couple weeks coming over to a new team in the middle of the season. But now that he's had a few weeks to acclimate and the Niners have been injured all over the place, they're still giving CMC that crazy workload, which is obviously is going to blow him out by like week 8. But for right now, just ride it. And yeah, I would absolutely do that deal. Even in the standard league, I think that
Okay.
I don't think that there's the yardage is going to be there, and he gets receiving touchdowns. I know it's not the same as it's the same point total as a rushing touchdown, so I don't think that matters too much. He has found the end zone. They have schemed him up at the goal line, and I haven't seen the burst from McCaffrey. I haven't seen him kind of break tackles or break through the line like he has in seasons past. Maybe that's just who he is as a rusher now. He's not a between the tackles guy. He's not somebody who's going to just make that first line miss so badly that he's in space against linebackers. I think he gets swallowed up. And God forbid Shanahan quits running up the freaking middle every time. But the plays that were there for him in seasons past aren't there for him now.
Yeah.
And I don't see that getting better, post week 6 going into the rest of the year. However, his standing as a receiver, I think, overmatches that potential, downgrade in actual touchdowns or of rushing efficiency.
Yeah, so one of the things I was thinking about as far as how you can also judge this this trade is looking on your waiver wire and seeing if Brian Robinson Jr. is available. I mean, if you're giving up 2 guys to get CMC, then that leaves you with an extra spot, and if he's available, just being able to have that extra security just in case, heaven forbid that McCaffrey gets hurt at some point this year, you have that.
Those words out of your mouth, Travis.
Well, that's why I said heaven. I qualified it with heaven forbid. Trying to be unblasphemous. But that's certainly, I think, something to consider before you take this trade. It could work out, in favor one way or out of your favor, depending on whether he's available or not. But I mean, if he is, I think that's just the fact that you have an extra roster spot, and I think that putting Brian Robinson Jr. in there is, a backup handcuff, only strengthen the, the value of that trade.
I think that's a good hedge. I do wonder about Garindo. Isaac Garindo, he was so good last year after Mason went out and McCaffrey was still not, able to play. But he's been non-existent in the offense this year, especially since Robinson came over. So I wonder if McCaffrey went down, if you're looking at more of a committee back type situation rather than like a 1-for-1 with Robinson. Just caveat
really,
that.
You think Shanahan's going to do a committee back?
I don't think he's gonna let Robinson run 80% of the plays.
Okay, all right.
I don't see that happening. And I don't know what Garindo did, if he like pissed in his cornflakes or something, but he was super effective last year. And Shanahan doghouses people pretty regularly. I don't see why this is happening to Garindo right now.
Okay.
But that'll being said, Niners offense going forward is okay. A little more questionable than I want it to be.
If they're getting the job done, though, that's all that matters.
I know.
Which is it's great. I mean, everybody. I mean, yeah, I think both of us were.
And they got the extra rest before they go to Tampa.
Exactly.
Which should be a pretty wild game.
Yeah.
I think.
Definitely going to be paying attention to that game for sure.
Yeah, looking forward to that one for sure. Should be a lot of fun. But yeah, as far as this trade, and I'd be really, really curious to see the other side of this. Like, why is somebody trying to give up CMC for a fucking tight end? And I don't know. This is a 10 or 12 team league or 16 team league. I really don't know. But if it's 10 team league and you're, trading for a quarterback, I think you're already doing it wrong. And if you're trying to give up CMC in a PPR league, I'd really be curious what else they had as far as skill position players. I think from Compete's end, yeah, I'm taking that deal before the fucking offer rescinds it.
Yeah.
But I'd
Or the league
really be
vetoes
interested.
it.
Yeah, right. But I'd be really interested to see the psychology of like why this trade was being offered in the first place.
That's what
And
we
this is
call
a
a taco
situation
move.
dude, crazy man. A tight end who has been hurt for basically every game except for the first one, and a quarterback who's good but not great and could break his back at any moment for somebody that you spent first round draft pick on. I don't get it. But yeah, I would make that move, Compete. So if you haven't already, hit the accept button. Move on with your life.
Mash it. Don't hit it as hard as you can.
Yeah, like throw your phone against the wall.
Just flying elbow drop right into the left click mouse.
Yeah. Yeah. No need for a Hogan leg drop. Just give me the Macho Man off the fucking turnbuckle.
It doesn't get more devastating than that.
Oh, it can't. It's impossible.
It's physics.
Yeah, the Kevin Nash powerbomb is like a close 5th or 6th, but yeah,
and maybe the clothesline from hell. Bradshaw.
Bradshaw, yeah.
Bradshaw, JBL. as the more modern wrestling fans know him as, we know him as Bradshaw, but he goes by JBL now.
Oh, that's all right. Well, good for him. Anyways,
it is what it is. Yeah. It is what it is. I know we're old men, but anyways,
that trade. All right. So who do we get? And shout out to our league mate Matt, who has the pleasure of joining us in the 40-year-old club. Don't worry, Matt. Your hurricane is in the mail, as is your Depends and your AARP membership card.
And your
big shout out. Happy birthday, Matt. Happy 40th. We love you. We miss you. And yeah, party on Wayne.
Yeah, party on Matt. Oh, don't forget his UB40 cassette tape.
Yes. Red wine. You gotta like the red wine. Any other?
Well, we have a couple, but a quick mention to Compete. If you happen to be in a 10 league or a 10-man league, you have 2 willing participants to make it a 12-man. We would love to join that league that makes those sorts of trade offers. So just
absolutely, get me in.
I want a piece of that.
Yes. Oh, man.
All right, so we have our next caller or inquiry. He calls himself the Stank with the capital letters of STAN. He has a handful of questions for us. So he's got a couple of trade inquiries. So we're looking at any combo for St. Brown. So he's given up Amon-Ra, St. Brown, McConkey, Walker, Judkins, Bill, and JCM. That is Bill. Okay, so Bill / JCM. Just looking at this, McConkey's a bench warmer at this point. You don't want him. Judkins is a decent, player. Walker has had much more of a murky sort of setup with Charbonnet, with being more of a 60-40 split. So he hasn't been producing as much. And Bill has, the last game had, a very large share of the runs, but given up Amon-Ra, St. Brown. All this for Amon-Ra, St. Brown. So if I could see this, if you have,
Travis, just kind of recap. It's Amon-Ra, St. Brown, which Stank has, and he's getting back all of those players, or
let me see if I can clarify. So
which players? I'm kind of confused about the.
I think this is a 2-for-1. Looks like it's a 2-for-1.
Okay.
So he's given up St. Brown. He has his choice of McConkey, which I poo-poo. Walker,
that's a for me, dog.
Walker, Judkins, and Bill.
I think Judkins and Bill, I would entertain that for Amon Ra if I had a, a decent couple of receivers. And again, like context is
Yeah.
key here. Like, are we in a 10 team format? Is it a full PPR? Is it a flex 9, flex 10? Am I starting 3 wide receivers, or do I only have to start 2 in flex? I
Let's
think
call
that
this TPOA, trade players over average.
I would, if it is what I think it is, which is a 2 running back, 2 receiver flex league. I think that the running back value is inflated in those formats, and therefore I think Judkins and Bill are great pieces to have. But if it's a full PPR league, it's really difficult to move on from the Amon-Ra St. Brown unless you have a couple of receiving options, some depth behind him. Maybe you hit on an early waiver, like a late round pick or something. I'm not sure what Stank's overall roster looks like, but I would absolutely not.
Well, as far as the roster, just some context from the second question. It looks like he has a strong wide receiver 1 in St. Brown, but he's severely lacking in depth as far as his second wide receiver or possible flex play.
How do the running backs look?
That I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, this is the time of year where people are fishing for trades. They're looking to snag your best player, and trying to offer you some like kind of 2 pieces that might add to the same total weekly. So beware, buyer beware for sure in this time of year when people offering you trades. But I think that's where it's healthy to have a relationship with your league mates, and you try and have a conversation rather than just throwing out outlandish trade.
Ping ponging back and forth with just crappy offers, and then
So
guys on the vine.
If there's I think the best trades are the ones that effectively help both teams, but you also kind of walk away pissed off from as one of the traders. That's the way it should be. So if you're giving up Amon Ra and you don't have any running backs at all, it's a great trade.
Yeah.
If you are giving up Amon Ra and you've got like a second
or just a hero running back, somebody that is solid in that first spot, and that means you're only going to be able to play one or the other.
Yeah,
ideally.
And, bye weeks are coming up, so that kind of thing. But I don't know where Stank is at in his.
He's got Taylor Swift and Henry.
He's got Taylor Swift. Well, that's worth like.
Yeah, well, don't tell Kelsey that, but yeah. So he's got Jonathan Taylor.
No, I'm not making that fucking trade.
Yeah, do not make that trade. You want, if that is your bench or at least your roster for.
So
McConkey should just scratch that name off. That's not even somebody to consider.
No. So if you're giving up one of the top 5 PPR receivers in the game, and you already have a pretty stable backfield, like I would probably like throw in one of those, maybe a Swift.
If he's looking for a trade, then it sounds like that he has more of a depleted running back situation. Sorry, wide receiver situation, because he listed some excellent running backs. So I can only assume that's.
If he's got Henry,
and you're giving up St. Brown, you're the like one of the best wide receivers.
We're not fucking doing that.
No. Okay, so let's consider the second option. Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then you add Xavier, or everybody calls him Xavier, but I like to call him Javier. The X is silent. Or Quentin Johnston.
Javier.
No, it's Xavier worthy, but it's supposed to be pronounced Javier.
Well, I think Professor X would fight you on that.
Well, Xavier, quote unquote, is not. It's a Hispanic name.
Xavier. Yeah, no, I get it.
But all right.
Pronounced Xavier.
Okay, if that's how he wants to pronounce it, but you know me, I like to mispronounce names. I call him Wanderlei Robinson, All that shit.
Wanderlei Sykes.
Well,
All
it's
right.
not
Well, back to the point at
it's
hand.
not Wandale Sykes.
No, I don't. I'm not giving
Anyways,
up.
let's get back
Amon-Ra
on
St.
topic.
Brown
We're getting a
for
little distracted right
not
here.
giving up
So
Amon-Ra St. Brown for any version of Worthy. That's stupid. You got Rice coming back. Tyquan Thornton is really taking over that.
there you
You
go.
know, a lot of those receiving.
Those are all
targets.
poor options that were offered to you. You have
That's shitty. It's super shitty. You
Stank, you have a great backfield. You need wide receivers, and the person that offered that to you is he's trying to unload his garbage onto you, basically.
Yeah, that's an asshole move for sure. If I were Stank, I would counter with asking for their number one wide receiver and throw in.
Okay,
one of
so
my
check this out. So he
running
has
backs.
in his backfield, he has Jonathan Taylor, Swift,
Mhm.
Henry, and Javonte Williams. So I think
Why are you taking on running backs? That's no, you're not.
That's a good
You're
question.
getting rid of one of those running backs.
Stank,
because
wherever
you're
you are, you need to offer some, you know, maybe like sell. So what? How would you describe it, Henry right now? Is he like a sell low, like or
Oh, well, you always buy low.
yeah, sorry. Is this like a buy low situation where you could?
Yeah, I would throw in Henry. I would counter throw in Henry. If you want Amon-Ra and Henry, and give me back, um, I guess one of those running backs. But I need a better wide receiver.
He's got St. Brown, Flowers, McLaurin, and Jennings. So yeah, he's got some question marks, but they're not terrible.
You need receiver help.
You need receiver help.
St. Brown for 2 fucking running backs when you already have a shitload of running backs.
So I would I'm considering like Javonte Williams. Do you think he's able to? I mean, I know he's the obvious bell cow back of like Dallas, but do you think he's put up some very impressive numbers? Like, do you think is he that good of a player where like you think this is sustainable, or do you think like you could sell Javonte Williams high?
You could with that with the quality of running backs that you have.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've got a ton of running backs. So what am I getting in return? That's not, you know, fucking.
Yeah. So Stank, look at his.
Get one of his good wide receivers.
Yeah, look at his. Who is above?
Yeah.
Yeah, McConkey. That's got to be his like 4th or 5th. He didn't offer. He look at his roster and see who his second best receiver is.
Number one.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm staying far away from that trade, but
yeah,
I'm willing
it's
to
terrible.
engage the opposite owner, and kind of think about. Yeah, I need more. I need more, especially in the wide receiver room. I've got plenty of running backs. It sounds like it's
you're saturated at running back. You need to get some wide receivers, some quality wide receivers you can start every week. Nobody's situational.
And I'm not down on Derrick Henry the rest of the way. I think
surprising,
that he will provide some value, especially when the quarterback comes back and everything. Lamar comes back, but
we've seen how fragile that kind of ecosystem is.
Totally. When you have a stud, like imagine if Josh Allen went out or something like that, like it's your toast. Mm-hmm. So I think no, we're definitely not doing that trade, but I will consider some other pieces. But I'm not giving up Amon-Ra St. Brown if I have that backfield. There's just no way, dude. No fucking way.
So, of the options that he presented us, do you think Xavier Worthy or Quentin Johnston are his best wide receivers? No. There's no scenario in which you give up Amon-Ra St. Brown for either of those guys and any amount of players afterwards.
No.
Especially when you're that flush in running back. So he has nothing to offer you. You have everything to offer him.
Counter with like your kicker and your defense, and ask for their fucking best receiver, and let that stand as a
maybe like the third born child.
Yeah, they're obviously the worst.
Any?
Uh, any other
Sorry.
anybody else chime in from the text line or the phones? I don't see mine ringing. No. All
We
right.
got from the same person. He has another from a different league
Okay. Okay.
from the
Damn,
Stank.
Stank is prolific.
Well, he's here every week. He is a longtime listener, but yet to be caller. Well, I guess this is the first time. Yeah, so
Well,
excellent.
you know,
Thank you, Stank, for
once we
watching
get
our.
him on, first time, long time has to be the
Let
first
me
words
let
out
me
of
do
his
some
mouth.
reach out, see if I can get some contact information, and I'll see what we can do for maybe next week.
Just knock on the bathroom door. What was the third one?
So he has another trade situation in a separate league. So he is saying he's kind of one of the bottom feeder teams. He's lacking depth on his bench, but he has
Yeah.
some quality players. He's
Okay.
wondering whether at this point in the year it's worth it to give up your studs for, maybe not guys that are still, giving up a wide receiver one or so, let's say for that, or a running back one for, two running back or wide receiver, 10 through 12s, guys that you can still start in your, lineup each week and be comfortable, but you're giving up an obvious stud. Just in the scenario where you need, you're kind of floundering at this point. It sounds like this is coming from an offer of a, kind of one of the leaders who has a deep bench, that's trying to dump some of that weight that they're not able to start each week just for an upgrade on their, starting positions. Is this something that you would kind of consider?
Uh, yeah, that's a man. That's a great question. So I think this goes down to league dynamics for sure, and how trade adverse you are. But I I abhor, really detest the idea of making one of the better teams in the league stronger by taking one of my best players. So
But I
just
mean, if you're at the
purely out of
bottom and you're looking your way up, don't you get kind of desperate to try to climb your way just into that sort of upper bracket where you can at least have a shot at the postseason?
purely out of spite, I'm going to say no. Definitely not. People have different philosophies on that, but for me, I'd rather grind. Obviously, that's the name of this podcast for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather grind the waiver wire. I'd rather grind those lower risk trades, but I'm not giving up one of my top players just because I need a bye week fill in it at running back or tight end or something. And yeah, I'll happily go down with the ship with my best players on my team and not my best players on somebody else's team and watching them win a championship. That's my kind of just
Okay.
over the top take on that.
So, out of spite.
Obviously, every situation is dependent. So, it could make sense in some situations. If you think like, hey, I can sneak in if there's a bunch of shitty teams. Let's say you're one of the bottom feeders, but there's 4 other shitty teams in the top 6 make the playoffs. Okay, maybe there's some ways I can, eke out a couple wins here and there. But anytime one of those studs has a spike week and you're not the beneficiary of it, I think that's going to sting a lot more. So I stay away from those kinds of trades personally, but depending on the structure of the league or the context of my team, I could maybe do it, but generally those are things I'm avoiding doing.
So, I mean, just to kind of input into this scenario, like it sounds like this is a situation where, you're down and out with very few options, and the opposing party is trying to give you more options. So, what do you have to lose and what do you have to gain by, not by taking this offer, not taking this offer? It seems to me like, I kind of had a similar situation. Um, as far as my trade philosophy, I'm always looking to find a situation where the person that I'm trading with, benefits more than I do, at least from my perspective. But I can also, get something in return that benefits me. So like, let's say you're in a situation where you're trading with somebody that has a deep bench. What do you have to lose, or if you're already at the bottom of the standings?
Yeah, that's a great question and a good way to look at it. I think that there are again, this is highly speculative, right? This is
Hmm.
like theoretical at this point. So theoretically, if your team is getting better and you're able to score more points each week, because that's really what it is, it's a weekly, how many points can I score each week kind of game. Is that number one stud that you have on your team that's getting you 20 points a game? Is that going to benefit you more than the two
Yeah,
guys who are
I
getting
mean,
you like 7
definitely.
points a game?
There
I
is
don't know.
mathematical
I
analysis.
Yeah, so that's my take on it. I'm looking to score the most points possible, and if I can do that without giving up, a great player, I will do that. But if
Well, everybody's got to give up a great player in a trade. You're not gonna. That's the thing about trades. Like,
well,
people are
you're
scared
telling
of
me
what
this
they're giving
person with
up, but that's all they focus on, what they're giving up and
you're,
not what they're
you're telling
gaining.
me this person with the depth isn't giving up a great player. They're giving up two depth pieces. So I don't agree with that. Like if they're if they're offering you two, like look at the
Well, it's
last
it's
trade
all
request from
relative.
like
It's all relative.
Stank.
Like, these depth pieces could be starters for the rest of the year for the second player. You have to kind of look at
Maybe.
the
Yeah,
and
I'd
that's what
also
I'm trying
bank
to
on
do.
them.
I'm trying to give, at least when I do trades, I'm trying to give people that they're gonna start. Like, I don't want to insult their intelligence or anything like that, but
Or hope they accidentally hit accept because they're like out late on a Friday night or something.
I wish that would happen to me. I guess. Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. So I think every situation is certainly dynamic and unique. So I wouldn't rule it out categorically. I just think that if you're
yeah. So, kind of in the
look at the full
context of how
context of
the
the league.
questions came in,
Yeah,
look to see what your strengths are, look to see what your weaknesses are, and the guys that you get are these guys I'm going to start. If they're not, then that's probably not a trade that you want to take. But if they are, consider the worst possible scenario. If you don't take this trade, or if you do, um, it's all very dependent on your situation. But
yeah, and we're getting into injuries, buys, folks come back from injuries, that kind of stuff.
see,
So
oh
I
yeah,
think there's a lot of
that's another thing. I think there's a lot of positive qualities to, or maybe not a lot. There's a positive quality to a player that's already had his bye. So if you're doing a trade and your player has already had his bye, make sure you mention that to the other party, because that could be very significant, especially for like a quarterback or a tight end. For a position that you only roster one of.
Green Bay's defense, for instance.
Exactly. If they get dropped and they've already had the bye and they have a strong rest of the season, then that's one less spot that you have to worry about as far as your bench depth and what you have to kind of let go for those situations.
Yeah, and there's other factors too, like bench depth as well.
Hmm.
I my I don't know. I play in a league that has like 5 bench spots, and I play in a league that has
Sounds.
like 8 or 9 bench spots. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of different formats out there, a lot of ways to play the game, and I don't know Stank's league as well as Stank does.
Hmm.
But those are other options I would consider. Like if it's a shallow bench and we're getting into the bye weeks, okay, maybe I'm banking on 1 or 2 of those players being dropped and available. Um, but you can't like
All right.
count on that. But it's something I would think about.
Just gonna make a little mark. I think one topic we should do in the future is just league features. League size relative to starting positions, relative to bench size. So let's put a little bookmark on that, and we'll
Yeah,
touch on that in the
yeah,
future.
definitely something I love exploring. And what makes this game a lot of fun? There's not like a one size fits all league. I've seen
Yeah.
8 team leagues, I've seen 16 team leagues, ones that just do touchdowns only, or Whatever.
Oh,
There's
that's
a
old
lot of
school.
ways to.
That's old school.
It is. It is a lot of ways to skin a cat, but yeah, it's a fun topic and something that I definitely enjoy exploring. So yeah, we can definitely make that a segment in future
All
episodes.
right, yeah. So that wraps up the third quarter. Is a little long third quarter, but I had a lot of fun with it. So yeah, we'll be back in about, let's say, 4 minutes with our
All right,
fourth
grinders,
quarter.
get ready because here we come with Travis's teasers and our pick'ems for the week. Woo!
Ooh, I know it's what y'all been looking for. So yeah, we'll see you back shortly.
And welcome back, Grinders, to the final quarter of the podcast today. Thanks for sticking with us. Travis Big Chops Gonzalez behind the glass here. It's the Governor
Hell
Greg
yeah.
Davis chatting with you. Yeah, really a lot of really good content so far today, and let's finish strong.
Yeah, so we're just gonna finish real quick. Recap of Travis's teasers, and I usually do them on Saturday, but there's some prime pickings right now, especially with the line movement. It's been very significant since we even started this podcast. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, here we go. Starting off with just a recap from last week. It was definitely not my bottom week. Lost all 3 games, but I mean, it started hot. We're still up. I took Carolina, the Jets, and Giants each plus 1.5. Teased 6 points to 7.5. 3 bets, groups of 2. Lost all 3, but we are still up for the year, like I said, at 26.18 return on investment. So stick with us and still get you some positive value, hopefully, for the end of the year. Looking forward, we have a play just for tonight, so hopefully you're tuning in right now. I got 3 plays. First one, Philadelphia minus 7.5. This is obviously going to be teased down to 1.5. These games tend to be close. Like he said, it's the early game, the Thursday game. These tend to be, I mean, not always, but more generally than not, lower scoring affairs. But we are taking Philadelphia. They have a slight edge on the money. There's not too many plays. These aren't as statistically significant as the first few weeks that we had. But if I had to choose one, Philadelphia and New York Giants, and 7.5 teased down to 1.5. Like, I can't really see this being more than a field, or I can easily see this being more than a field goal game. So getting us underneath that 7 and 3 total, I think Philadelphia is an excellent play as far as teasers. Maybe not straight up 7.5. You never know what happens with garbage points, but we're gonna add Philadelphia minus 7.5, tease down to minus 1.5 for our first leg of our 3 teaser bets. Up next we have, yeah. Got something to add in, Greg, about this game tonight?
Yeah, I don't know. My dog saw the mailman or something. He's freaking out. But I guess he's more of a Giants fan right now than an Eagles fan.
Oh,
so,
all right. Maybe we should see what Odie's picks are.
we can. If you like the favorite, 1 bark if you like the underdog.
All right, we'll speak him out to him, see what he thinks. Up next on our second leg, we have Detroit is plus 2.5. That's surprising. I mean, Detroit has shown that they are still
Kansas City in the. Let's contextualize this thing. This is the Sunday night game.
Yeah, this is going to be the. I mean, it is the game to watch just because it's the only game. But I mean, as far as the entire slate, I think this is the game to watch. And
the Chiefs coming off another primetime Monday night game last week, right? If I'm not mistaken, 2 primetime games in a row. These guys, dude.
There's huge money on Detroit. Like, so many people. The only thing that's keeping back this, this total from crossing that 3-point mark is there's a lot of sharp money coming in Kansas City, but as far as the bet size, that's still on Detroit. So, I mean, we have everybody slamming Detroit, and at this point, with how well Detroit's been playing and how poor Kansas City's been playing, even though it is at home with Kansas City, I'm still taking Detroit, teasing them +2.5 to +8.5. I mean, like I said, this whole kind of experiment is predicated on just crossing those two key numbers, 3 and 7. So getting Detroit +8.5. I don't think.
+8.5. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that a lot.
On Detroit, like against Kansas City, who has not been impressive lately.
Well, their last game they looked okay. Like we talked about Thornton, kind of.
Besides those, just
yeah, Kelsey looked like he was on a mission last week. You can trust that. Their running back game is obviously
a little distracted at this point with the songs, or at least the song that was made about him. We won't get into that details.
Oh, did the movie premiere already? Did they do the red carpet thing yet, or?
I don't know, man.
Okay. Hard to keep up.
It is, especially when you don't really care about it.
Yeah. Where's the Six Sports crowd? Oh wait, that's us.
All right, so
yeah, I love it. Love it.
Moving on to the last leg. This one is very conditional. At the start, I'll be straight up with you. At the start of this podcast, it was Seattle plus. There were some places you can get them at, I believe, 2 and 2.5. And within the time that we've started this podcast, I like to believe that they're listening and they think they're sharp bettors. But it's moved.
Yeah, there's actionable information that we've been providing, especially with the Seattle flying cross country facing that Jacksonville defense. So definitely information that you have been getting here that you probably can't get anywhere else in the media sphere. So yeah, keep it here. Keep it locked into the grind for all of that prescient and considerable information.
Yeah, so if you're listening live, there are a few books you can still get Seattle +1.5. If you're able to, that would be, if you're able to lock it in now, that would be the third part of my three two-leg teasers. If not, there is a backup. Don't worry about that. I got you covered. The LA Rams are -7.5 point favorites. Go over Baltimore. I know Baltimore was expected to be, a hot team for the season, but just at this point they've looked lackadaisical, just like they're not making tackles. The defense hasn't been stepping up, especially with Lamar Jackson out. It's been easier to contain Derrick Henry. So if you're not able to get Seattle +1.5, I would recommend you can get the Rams right now for -7.5. The money is definitely on them. 17-point differential.
I like that. It's Baltimore. Baltimore looks like dog shit.
Yeah, 7.5 down to 1.5. So you just need Rams to win by 2 points or more, and you're good to go. So that concludes it for Travis's teasers. They are going to be Philadelphia -7.5, teased down to -1.5. Detroit Lions +2.5, teased up to +8.5. And let's call it Rams for now, -7.5, teased down to 1.5, conditionally if you couldn't get Seattle +1.5, which I'm guessing most people can right now. Here we go.
All right, love it, Travis. Thank you very much for
another tweet
of Travis's teasers.
That brings us down to the 2-minute warning. To wrap this session up, we are just going to go through a quick blast of pick'ems for the week. All right.
Just kind of reiterate, we've been looking at this football pick'em that I'm in, and we've been going over the results, not the results, but the predictions every week. Currently sitting in 5th place after a really shitty week 5. That sucked. So here, looking to bounce back week 6 and try and gain some ground. Just 1 point, 1 game behind 2nd place. So definitely a lot of opportunity. and we'll let it rip. So first game, obviously the Thursday night, big old divisional matchup. The Eagles coming off that tough game they had last week. A lot of turmoil on their offense. Oh, AJ Brown wants the ball. And now we got Eagles at Giants. Giants look like, well, they're not a good team. Like let's just get that out of the way. Division matchups, Thursday night games, a lot of factors there, but I don't see any reason not to take the Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles have not been relying on the passing game, but I think that's just because they don't have to. Why they're doing that, I couldn't tell you, but they are. They're exactly. They're
they'll do whatever it takes to win.
They're deeper than they have shown. If need be, I think for some reason they're going to show up tonight for sure. And there's no reason not to take the Eagles at this point.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're going to be pissed. Giants are unfortunately just the team that's going to have to eat that. Tough loss to Denver last week and the way it happened, of course. So yeah, Eagles are going to be pissed off. They're coming in hot. Giants get destroyed. All right, and then we have my second. I think I dislike the London games more than Thursday games. Maybe just because there's fewer of them, and I don't have to get as worked up over it. Like over the course of the season, where I do Thursday night games every fucking week. But in this instance, we got Broncos visiting, quote unquote, the Jets out in Tottenham Hotspur, I think. So yeah, Denver, pretty easy there. Jets own 5. They have looked competitive at times, but as we mentioned earlier in the program with Surtain locking down Garrett Wilson, I think that there's not going to be a whole lot of offense.
Yeah, they don't have too much depth past him. I mean, somebody's got to catch the passes, but I mean, it's not. They're not in a good situation.
Yeah,
I think so. I think so.
Denver doesn't like pile up the points, but they're steady, and I think they take this one.
Yeah.
No next question. Game after that, we got the Cardinals visiting the Colts. Kyler Murray is on. He's questionable.
Still hasn't practiced, I believe.
And based on his game, it's all kind of predicated upon that footwork and being able to scramble and make things happen outside of structure. So I don't like that at all. So
no,
I
not
think
at all. It is
pretty
clear cut.
Colts in this one.
Yeah, that's easy for sure.
Chargers at Dolphins. All right, Dolphins have been a little feisty lately with Darren Waller, but they're obviously Tyreek Hill, possibly one of the worst people ever. Not in the conversation. And 6 Sports, dude. So yeah, I think they've got a couple of decent options as far as the offense goes, but the Chargers, in my opinion, are a much more complete team with a better defense. So even though they are again flying across the country to play in super hot, humid Miami, I still do like the Chargers' talent, Herbert, and
he's got so many options. I mean, he doesn't have the O-line. They're coming back though. It sounds like Joe Alt's coming back within the
no Marion Hampton, so that running game is going to be very suspect. Some we didn't talk about, but the Hassan versus Vidal discourse that's been occurring. I don't know which side of that you landed on. In PPR, I was definitely going Vidal or Predatories in that, but I don't love their running game. Herbert's been kind of banged up, so I think there are some question marks for the Chargers. It's not a slam dunk.
But it's Miami, dude. It's Miami.
They won a game, I think. Pretty sure they won a game.
Everybody has won a game except the Jets.
All right, so
which is as is tradition. It's Chargers. It's Chargers. If we didn't make this clear, it's Chargers.
Yeah, they Charger at a very high level, often even with Jim Harbaugh. But I think they button it up and get the victory out there in Miami. Next we got Patriots at Saints. I'm leaning Pats. I think that's pretty easy to call to make.
Not as quite a wide of a gulf, but still, I mean, it's the Saints. I have very much trouble putting any sort of money on the Saints. Not something I want to do.
I like the Saints. I like Kellen Moore. I like what they're doing with the offense, even with his, piecemeal quarterback situation. Their line sucks. Their defense isn't good, but they've been competitive in a lot of games. So I don't discount them. I just like what the Patriots are doing right now, especially coming off of that win in Buffalo. I think they have the momentum. They're riding high. So I will take them. And then Browns at Steelers. Ugh, gross. I mean, I don't like anything about this. Steelers are at home. They're favored by like 6. Cleveland has some interesting pieces on offense with Judkins, with Fannin and Njoku. Still don't know what Dylan Gabriel is really offering since his first
Yeah, like
action was
they have
in
options, but
England.
what does Pittsburgh have? Like it's just
Yeah, and I like Pittsburgh in this one.
yeah. I
I don't
guess I
love
gotta
them.
agree with you. Just
I don't love them, but I'll pick them.
I don't. Cleveland seems to be the more fun team to watch, just because they have more potential, and then Pittsburgh just seems kind of to be one of those teams that falls, through the wayside. Just because they're not
Well,
really doing anything great, they don't have super
yeah,
potential.
they're getting
But
running
yeah,
back
I
back.
think I think
So
it's gonna be Pittsburgh, but I'm probably not gonna watch this game.
no, gross. Next we got Cowboys at Panthers. I like the Cowboys.
Yeah, yeah. Just
Seattle
that
at
hot offense, man. Like you can't.
S. Love
What's
it.
what's Carolina
Panthers might
gonna
get
do?
Coker back. I think Coker did play this week. Obviously, Chuba Hubbard didn't practice again, so Rico Dowdle
Yeah.
may see that hero usage again, which could be good for his individual prospects. I like Ted McMillan, obviously, but I think Dallas is on a roll offensively right now. And
Mm-hmm.
if every game they go into is a shootout, I prefer the Dallas ecosystem
Oh, me too.
currently to the
Especially when you got
Panthers. So
multiple shares of Javante Williams.
yeah, so I take them next. Ooh, Seahawks at Jaguars.
This is just I
Oh.
don't know what to make of this. The line has literally moved while we've been doing this. But the size of the tickets are on Seahawks, man. I think
I have the Seahawks. I'm hedging
yeah,
towards the Seahawks in this one. Again, we talked about the risk factors coming off that emotional game last week. They could certainly have a letdown going across the country. Their defense has had pieces, especially in the secondary, that have been banged up, Witherspoon
hmm
and everything. So I don't love it. Jaguars on at least in this little pick'em thing are getting picked
well,
55%
that's
of the
they've
time.
had a solid secondary, but like Seattle's got that potent run game. So do you think like
Yeah.
Seattle
Oh,
slows it
ETNs
down?
look good too. ETNs look good too.
Yeah, I'm not discounting him. I'm just saying Seattle's two different offensive options versus what Jacksonville defensively is capable of. So
Yeah. And our best friend ever, Trevor Lawrence, has looked not great this year.
just
You're expecting that Liam Cohen, offensive guru genius, who is whatever. He's
do, you-
fine, I guess,
do you think
probably.
if
But
Trevor Lawrence hasn't made it by now, do you think there's hope for him at this point? Like he's 6 years, 5 years, 6 years in the league or so.
you remember who his first head coach was?
You're more of a behind the scenes kind of guy.
I think I don't know. He was fine at Clemson, like whatever. I think that there's a lot of things to like about Trevor Lawrence, but no, I think that if you've been in the league for 6 years and you haven't figured it out yet, even with the carousel at coaching and offensive coordinator, he's had something like a new offensive coordinator every year since he's been at Clemson or even at Clemson or whatever. So sure, it could be hard to find consistency there, but at some point, you have the talent, should win
hmm
out. And when you have Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter and ETN in what's supposed to be a pretty good offensive ecosystem. Obviously, they lost Brenton Strange for the rest of he's on IR right now. But with those weapons, especially like Thomas has not been going at all this year. ETN has been a revelation. And once they dumped Tank Bigsby, I think that was pretty evident where they're going with that. So if you grab ETN in the 7th, 8th round of your drafts, good for you. And
I hate you.
No, yeah, I mean we love you, but we hate you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's from a place of love.
Yeah, so Lawrence, he should have figured it out by now. I don't see him making those game-changing plays. And honestly, I think that their offensive production has been directly correlated with the turnovers that we talked about that the defense has been able to get. So I like Seattle. I'm picking Seattle. Going for it.
All right. Excellent.
Next, we got the Los Angeles Rams at Baltimore. We already talked about that. Baltimore looks like doggy doo-doo. No offense, Otis.
Which is weird because so few things changed, from year to year.
MVP quarterback.
Well, from year to year, I'm not talking about from week to week. So that definitely, it just shows you how maybe that's why they haven't had, ultimate success, is just how fragile their ecosystem is. When you lose your quarterback, I mean, look at like the Niners, they lost, almost 2 quarterbacks. There's still some injury questions, with Mac Jones, but they've still been productive, whereas like Baltimore lost Lamar Jackson and they've just almost completely collapsed.
Yeah, well, I think that's to be expected. What would the Bills do without Josh Allen after all? But yeah, once you pay that quarterback, it's hard to get those ancillary pieces, especially on offense, that are gonna, have that long-term consistency. They have Derrick Henry, obviously, who they're paying a good bit of money to, but the receiving core doesn't scare anybody. Zay Flowers doesn't scare you or me. Bateman could pop up every once in a while.
Nothing on Baltimore's offense that scares you right now.
Well, Derrick Henry coming out of 100,
but he has. I'm saying he could, but he hasn't. He hasn't.
Yeah, and I think if folks are keen on him this game, and obviously they're not scared of, I don't know who fucking Baltimore's backup quarterback is. Doesn't matter because it's crappy. It's not Huntley anymore. So
even their defense is just looking anemic at this point. It's crazy.
Their stud defensive back has been injured as well. So I don't know, but yeah, I like the Rams a lot. Ravens.
Oh yeah, definitely. If this wasn't clear, it's Rams. Definitely, you'd like big green flag.
Next, Titans at Vegas. I'm picking the Titans.
Okay.
I'm picking the Titans.
Okay. This one.
Vegas is favored by 3.5. Get out of here. That's crazy to me. This is your market inefficiency, folks. Raiders are trash, and they should be treated as such.
So is Tennessee, Titans, man.
Easy.
What do you? If Vegas is trash, what do you consider Tennessee?
Like the next step up from trash.
So like the George Costanza fucking donut that's hovering above because it was on top of magazines and it hasn't hit any other refuse.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's the crumpled up piece of paper that's sitting on your desk that hasn't quite made its way into the waste bin yet.
Okay, so if that's the case, then why is the spread 3.5? Like at this point, we haven't been contrarian, and just for my own sake, I think I have to disagree with you at some point. So I'm going to take Tennessee. I'm going to take Tennessee at this game.
Oh, I did take Tennessee.
What? Oh yeah, no. Shit.
Yeah,
I read this wrong.
Raiders are they're favored, but I think it's Titans all day long. I like the Titans are.
Then there we go. If I'm said I'm going to be contrarian, I'm gonna be
Okay.
contrarian,
Make
so
your
I'm
case.
taking Vegas.
Make your case for the Raiders, dude. Like,
I'm making my case for the. This is hard. Hold
I
on.
mean,
Give
you
me
can't
a
even do it
second,
with like a
folks. This is
straight
hard to get
face.
out. I'm making my case
Can't
for
even do it
the
with a straight face. Raider.
No, this is
You just do it.
very.
Just do it. It's fine. It's
No,
fine.
it's not.
Come
It's
on, let it rip.
really not. Feels terrible.
Raider.
No, no. You'll
No.
never hear me do that.
All right. Well,
They abandoned Oakland twice, so I'm making my stand here. You know my stance.
okay. That's a whole nother can of worms.
There.
All right. Well, there you go.
There we go. Let's move on to the
we got
next goddamn fucking.
Cincinnati visiting the Green Bay Packers. I like the Packers coming off the bye at home. I like them beating the Bengals, who just have
This
just
isn't even
lasted
close,
4
man.
days.
This is.
Dude, what's the
we're
spread on
looking
that?
at a 14.5. Okay, so 14 most
Come on.
books. You if shop around, you can get or you don't want to shop around and get 14.5 because this is not a spread that you want to bet on. You never want to bet on double-digit spreads. That's fucking gross. Just don't do it ever in your life. It's not worth it. Fuck you if you do.
Oh, whoa. Well, college. I mean, college is a little different.
This is strictly an NFL podcast. If you want to branch out, I'm down for that. We can talk later, but for now, this is strictly NFL. And
14 points. Yeah, I'm taking Packers.
14
That's easy.
points.
Just put your quarters in the piggy bank. Move on.
This would be just the upset of the season, if not like the last couple years or so. Like it's just.
Dude, what was? I don't know. There was another crazy line this year.
I know there has, but I was just being
that.
sensationalistic.
Yeah. Well, you're good at that. Next, Niners at Buccaneers.
This is going to be a good game. This is going to be a good game.
Old-fashioned slobber knocker.
The money size is on San Francisco.
Yeah, we talk about that West Coast going to the East Coast thing all the time.
Less than a field goal spread.
It's the afternoon game, so you don't really have to worry about that. They're playing at the same time that they would on the West Coast anyways, so that factor is negated. Plus, the Niners played on a Thursday night game, so they got this.
Is it completely? They still practice probably at different times. It's just the whole.
Well,
I don't know.
Had the extra couple days of rest because of the Thursday night game again. But Buccaneers coming off that slugfest against Seattle, I could see a little bit of a letdown because of just how much they had to be on in that game. Of course, Niners. Brock Purdy's hurt. Kittle's still not playing. Pearsall's not playing.
San Francisco's shown to be a team that is system based. Like it helps to have pieces, but if you don't, you can still scrap out some wins. And when you're talking about a 2.5 point spread, I'm going with the Niners.
Wow. Okay. I like the Buccaneers. I don't want to like the Buccaneers, but I kind of like the Buccaneers.
I've done that before. It doesn't feel good, but you got to do it.
I didn't believe, but I believe today. And who knows? Come Sunday, maybe I'll have had a change of heart.
We'll update you. We'll update you.
Get into the Sunday night.
Oh, this is the game of the week for
Chiefs. Sure. I think we kind of, based on the things we've talked about earlier today, I do like Detroit. I think that they are at this point in the season just a more complete team. Chiefs always find a way to win. You can never count them out.
They really haven't this year. Well, they have Rice back this week, right?
It's still Thornton and
okay.
There's a 6-game suspension, so this is the last week of the suspension.
Gotcha.
And then I'm pretty sure they're on the bye right after that. But hey, don't look now. The Broncos are in second place in the AFC West, and I guess they're in third place. Chiefs are in third place. So, just a game behind the Chargers and the Broncos. They're hard to bet against them, but I think Detroit offers a little bit more.
They've been solid since week one, I think.
What? Lions are good. They're a tough team.
Yeah, it's got to
So
be Lions for sure.
I'll
Lions.
take the Lions. I'll take the Lions, even though the Chiefs are favored. Then we get into the doubleheader Monday night matchup where
I
we
think that
have
they're still doing this. How is this the last week that they're doing this? Because I don't like it. It's driving me crazy.
I like it more than, you know, the London games or the stupid Thursday games. At least you
Well,
have
how about the
choices.
was it the first week where they overlapped them by they didn't overlap them? They had a 3 hour
I
gap.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's because
used to
we're on
do
the
that.
West Coast, but I'm sure the East
Yeah,
Coast people.
they used to do the, you know, the traditional or like the 7 p.m. start and then the 4 o'clock start, you know, on Pacific Coast time. So I liked it when they did that. I don't like the 1 hour overlap where two games are going on simultaneously on Monday night. I dislike that. I think that's garbage. Um,
Yeah,
but
just have one Monday
at a
night game.
time, just one at a time.
Just one.
You can
That's
have
all you need.
two. You can have two, but just have
It's
one at a
it's like
time.
the dessert for the week, you know.
It really is. Really is. Buffalo at Atlanta.
Oh,
I'm taking
Buffalo,
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Like
The
the
Buffalo.
or the is my good friend's son used to call him Fuffablo.
Yeah, the Buffalo
Yeah,
Bills,
Fuffablo
whatever.
Phils.
They you know, they're going to be motivated, I think, and Atlanta probably doesn't pose too much of a threat.
They don't
Um, I,
really.
I think that maybe Buffalo had an eye towards this game on prime time rather than their division rival Patriots, whom they've had dominated for a couple years before last
Hmm.
week's upset loss. But I think Buffalo's going to get the job done.
Man, there hasn't been really many close games. Like it's been pretty polarizing this week. I think I just had the one against you, so. And I don't think we're
And then
gonna be too separate for this last game, Chicago and Washington.
maybe.
Oh,
You tell me who you like. Bears at not
Washington.
Redskins.
All right. So I know. Are you referring back to the fact that I thought that the Bears were going to be the worst to first team for
Oh,
for
I
the
did not.
the season?
I did not pull that out of my memory, but I
I
remember it
just had that
now.
feeling, but if you don't, I still think Washington's gonna pull away with it. Chicago had some upgrades, but I mean maybe they're still suffering the woes of the Raiders, where it's gonna take them at least another year to kind of reap the benefits of the new sort of regime. But
hmm
yeah,
Well,
it's got to be what.
Bears are 2-2. They've scored 100 points so far. They already had their bye, so they're coming off that week of rest.
Yeah.
Commanders getting old Jaden Daniels back like that. Maybe Kyle Williams and Ben Johnson did like a darkness retreat or tried some ayahuasca or something, and now they're gonna put it on the front foot. He still has tons of weapons in Chicago. He's got
Yeah.
Odunze, got Loveland, he's got DJ Moore, he's got I don't like DeAndre Swift at all.
Williams hasn't been
Yeah,
half bad this year either.
he has not been bad. Their offensive line, he's not taking 65 sacks like he did last year. So I think that's positive, no matter how you spin it. And the Kyle, their second running back, looked like he missed practice today. It'll be all DeAndre Swift again, which I hate. And Bill looked pretty good last week. So yeah, I'm taking the Commanders on that one. You're right.
Yeah.
Got him 24-17.
Just quick question: what happened to Roshan Johnson, dude? Where'd that guy go? He was supposed to be like he was always semi-rostered the last couple of years. You hoping that he would kind of take over the backfield, and then all of a sudden he just dropped off.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of slow, not dynamic, and he's more of a bruiser, and that kind of archetype in running backs has sort of gone by the wayside in the modern NFL. So I chalk it up to that personally.
Yeah, it seems like that was kind of the Bears' identity for quite a while. Do you think they're trying to adapt to like a new situation in the NFL?
Well, I think Ben Johnson is somebody that you can look at as kind of that new brand of
Yeah.
offensive mind, where he wants that explosiveness. He had David Montgomery. Last couple of years that was the hammer, and I think there's still value in that. But I think as a standalone option, DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson kind of have similar overlapping skill sets, and I think it just comes down to that.
All right. Excellent. All right. Looks like that wraps up our the fourth quarter and the podcast for the day. So yeah, thanks everybody for listening. I think what do you think, Greg? We're aiming for maybe a Saturday broadcast, late night broadcast just before game time.
Well, there's fireworks at the pumpkin patch on Saturday night, so I
No
can't
way.
fully commit to that.
They have fireworks at the pumpkin patch where that you're at? Like,
Yeah.
they didn't have anything like that when I went to the pumpkin patch.
Oh yeah. So maybe I don't know. We'll see. And if not, maybe we can sneak in a little something Sunday morning. But there will be fresh content before
Game start at 10.
before
Oh,
the game.
maybe mean about the 6:30 game, but for sure at the 10 o'clock.
I mean, I'll be up. And hey,
You will?
check your
All
rosters,
right, all right.
folks. Check your rosters for inactives. To set your alarm for sick. You don't want to be in a situation where you're like,
And
plugged into
put your
kind of thing.
latest players in the flex because you never know. Like, was it
Okay.
Worthy went questionable, like just a few hours before the game or something like that last week, and he ended up playing, but you never know, man.
Yeah. So right on. Well, thank you, Travis. Really appreciate it today. Good job behind the glass there. And thank you everybody for listening. So it's another episode of the Grind Fantasy Football Podcast. So thank you, grinders. And we're going to grind towards a championship together. So let's party on. Travis Big Shots Gonzalez. This is the Governor, Greg Davis, and we'll see you next time.
Party on.